Have you ever wondered what Christianity looked like long before European missionaries arrived in Asia? What if I told you that nearly 2,000 years ago, vibrant Christian kingdoms already existed in India, flourishing, trading, and even shaping global faith history? Yet most Christians today have never even heard of them. This isn't just trivia. These forgotten Christian kingdoms hold powerful lessons about faith, endurance, and God's providence in unexpected places. By the end of this video, you'll not only discover their hidden stories, but also see how their legacy speaks directly to your own walk with Christ today. So, stay with me, because what you're about to learn may completely change how you see the spread of the gospel and your place in God's unfolding plan. Before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss more faith-deepening content like this. Number 1. Christianity in India didn't start with the Portuguese. It began with an apostle. Most people assume Christianity came to India with European explorers like Vasco da Gama or the Portuguese Jesuits. In reality, ancient Indian tradition and several early church sources point to something much earlier: the arrival of St. Thomas the Apostle himself around AD 52. According to the Acts of Thomas and the tradition of the Mar Thoma Christians of Kerala, Thomas landed on the Malabar coast, preaching the gospel, baptizing believers, and establishing 7.5 churches. Even though some scholars debate the exact details, archaeological findings, ancient liturgies, and oral traditions provide striking evidence that Christian communities were already thriving in India centuries before Europe even knew the Americas existed. Think about that. While the early church was still facing persecution in Rome, believers in India were already worshipping Christ. Doesn't that expand your vision of the Great Commission? Have you ever pictured the apostles traveling beyond the Roman Empire? Where else might they have gone? Comment your thoughts below. I'd love to hear. Number 2. The Kingdom of Muziris, a gateway for the gospel. In the 1st century AD, the bustling port city of Muziris on the Malabar coast, modern-day Kerala, was one of the busiest in the world. Roman coins, amphorae, and even inscriptions prove intense trade between India and the Mediterranean. This trade wasn't just about spices, it carried ideas and faith. Early Christian merchants and travellers could easily sail from Alexandria or Antioch to Muziris, bringing with them the gospel. Over time, these traders planted seeds of faith that blossomed into organized communities. Imagine this: a Christian merchant disembarking with pepper and cinnamon in one hand and scrolls of the gospel in the other. This wasn't random. It was God's providence using commerce as a vehicle for his kingdom. In the same way, your workplace or your online presence might be your Muziris, a place where faith naturally spreads through your everyday interactions. Number 3. The Indo-Parthian and Kushan connections. Now, here's where history gets even more fascinating. The Indo-Parthian kingdom, ruled by King Gondophares, appears in the Acts of Thomas as the ruler Thomas served under. Archaeologists have uncovered coins and inscriptions of Gondophares in what is now Afghanistan and northwest India, dating to the exact period Thomas is said to have arrived. This suggests Thomas's mission may have stretched far beyond Kerala, reaching as far as the northwestern Indian subcontinent under Indo-Parthian and later Kushan rulers. These empires were cultural melting pots where Greeks, Persians and Indians mingled. It's no wonder Christianity found a foothold here. Biblical prophecy says the gospel will reach the ends of the earth. Acts 1:8. For a first-century Jew, India was practically the edge of the known world. Seeing it fulfilled this early is a powerful reminder. God's plan for global salvation has been unfolding far longer and far wider than we often imagine. If you're finding this as eye-opening as I did when I first studied it, share this video with a friend. They might need to hear how far God's love goes. Number 4. The Manigramam and Anjuvanam guilds, Christian powerhouses. Fast forward to the 8th, 12th centuries. By now, Indian Christian communities weren't just surviving, they were thriving. They formed powerful trade guilds known as Manigramam and Anjuvanam, networks of Christian merchants who controlled major parts of the spice trade. Inscriptions like the Tharisapali copper plates, 849 AD, granted Christians significant privileges, tax exemptions, and even land rights from Hindu kings. This wasn't a persecuted minority hiding in the shadows. This was a respected, organized community with real influence. Here's a lesson for us. Faith doesn't only transform personal lives, it can transform economies, societies and cultures when believers live out gospel principles boldly and ethically. What would it look like if Christians in your own country worked together with the same unity and integrity as those guilds? Number 5. The Christian kingdom of Kollam and the bishops from Persia. One of the strongest examples of an actual Christian polity in India was Kollam, Quilon, a port city where a bishop from Persia established a diocese as early as the 9th century. Records from travellers like Marco Polo in the 13th century describe a thriving Christian community with its own bishops, churches and influence. The Indian Church was also deeply connected with the Church of the East, often called the Nestorian Church. Persian bishops frequently travelled to India to shepherd the faithful, showing that Indian Christians were part of a truly global network long before modern globalization. This challenges our Western-centric view of church history. Christianity wasn't just brought to India. India was already an integral part of the early church's story. Sometimes, as believers, we feel isolated or think we're on the margins. Remember, you're part of something global and ancient. Christ's church, which has survived empires and centuries. Number 6. The arrival of European colonizers. A turning point, 11 to 13. When the Portuguese arrived in the 15th century, they were astonished to find ancient Christian communities already there. However, their attempts to Latinize the Indian Church led to conflict, such as the Synod of Diamper, 1599, where many local practices were suppressed. This marked a dramatic shift. For over a millennium, Indian Christians had developed their own liturgies, customs, and even kingdoms. But European colonization disrupted this organic growth. Yet even here, God was at work. Despite colonial tensions, the resilience of Indian Christians preserved a unique blend of Eastern and Western traditions, a living testimony to the universality of the gospel. Did you know Christians existed in India before the Portuguese? How does that change your perception of church history? Let me know in the comments why this matters for you today. Learning about these forgotten kingdoms isn't just a history lesson, it's a spiritual mirror. It shows us that God plants his church in unexpected places. It proves the gospel thrives even under pressure. It invites us to see our faith not as a Western import, but as a global, ancient inheritance. In your own life, maybe you feel like you're in a forgotten place, your workplace, your school, your neighborhood. Take heart. If the gospel could flourish in India 2,000 years ago, it can flourish in you and through you today. If you've been encouraged by this story, hit subscribe and share it. You never know who might need to hear it. We've journeyed through the hidden chapters of church history in India, from St. Thomas's arrival, to the port of Muziris, to the Christian trade guilds, to the bishops of Kolam. Each story reveals a pattern. God moves quietly but powerfully, planting seeds in places the world least expects. And now you know about these ancient Christian kingdoms. Their courage, resilience, and faithfulness across centuries are an invitation for you to live boldly for Christ where you are. While the world may feel uncertain and faith may seem marginalized in your culture, remember, Christ's kingdom is unshakable. It stretches from Jerusalem to Kerala, from Rome to Kollam, from the first century to today, and it includes you. This week, take a moment to pray for believers in parts of the world you've never thought about before. Ask God how He wants you to be a merchant of the gospel in your own sphere. May God bless you with the same courage He gave those ancient believers in India. May He plant in you an unshakable faith and open doors for you to share the gospel wherever you go. Keep your heart focused on Him. He is faithful across all centuries and cultures. If this video blessed you, please like, subscribe, and share. And comment below. Which of these ancient Christian kingdoms surprised you the most? Let's continue the conversation.